rich man's nut so my boss would stop coming into my office and eating the rich man's nuts. That title alone tells me that this is going to be a really interesting episode. Hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to CyberGhost VPN for sponsoring this video and helping to support my channel. With over 38 million users worldwide, it is one of the best VPNs out there, so let me quickly tell you why CyberGhost is such a great choice. If you don't know, a VPN is essential for protecting your digital privacy. Plenty of eyes are watching you every time you go online, and even incognito mode doesn't prevent that. Even your home Wi-Fi router can track what you're doing online, and that is where CyberGhost VPN comes in. Simply select one of their over 100 locations before you browse to encrypt and reroute all of your traffic through their secure servers. This way, no one will ever know about your online activity. CyberGhost also unlocks geo-restricted games and content from over 40 streaming platforms like Netflix, you got Amazon Prime, and Disney Plus, and you can even score better deals online by simply changing your virtual location. It works on all major devices and operating systems, Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS, and you can protect up to 7 devices at the same time, which is perfect for sharing with your friends and family. With my link in the description, you're getting their best deal ever, just $2.03 a month, plus 4 months for free, which is 84% off. There's even a 45-day money-back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose, my friend. So big thanks to them, big thanks to you, and now back to the video. It's the holidays, so the company I work for gets a lot of gift baskets from our clients and vendors. I work in a department that, because of the work we do, we rarely get gifts and treats unless one of the other departments shares their gifts with us. Thankfully, someone shared a couple of the baskets with nuts, candies, crackers, etc. The VP has been coming into our office almost every day to pick from our gift baskets. He doesn't do this to any of the other departments, and I've seen him get a couple of gift baskets himself and never share them. We had an unopened basket, and he opened it, then chose the most expensive item, a bag of pistachios, and he ripped into it, stealing some of our pistachios. Then said, "I love the rich man's nut." Do you think a pistachio is a rich man's nut? Huh? You ain't ever been to a sperm bank. Sperm bank in Beverly Hills. Are pistachios the most expensive nut? I feel like that'd be like a walnut. Or walnuts more or less expensive than pistachios. There's a nut I'm thinking, a hazelnut? This man makes 5 times what I do, and when the opportunity came for him to fight for raises for us, he did not. And now he is coming into our office and stealing our gifts and eating our rich man nuts. This cannot continue. Huzzah! I decided that I'm going to eat every single pistachio. I don't particularly like pistachios or nuts, but I am not going to let them come in here and steal my rich man nut. I'm going to eat them all to myself and enjoy every single last minute of it. I have eaten 4 sleeves of nuts. The basket is now empty. My body doesn't feel good, but my pride is intact knowing that I am full of rich man nut while he cannot take anymore. I love a dude who's down for the cause, man. Shout out to you and your I don't know, is audacity correct? Is that the right term? Shout out to you and your perspiration. The first thing I was thinking was, that's a lot of fiber. Nuts are a lot of fiber. You need a good movement? Eat a couple handfuls of pistachios for a snack throughout the day. Try it out, see what happens. It's just written so well. It's just written so well. Everything about this guy has a career in some kind of storytelling. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he needs to deliver poems at the Moth. I don't know if he needs to do a TED Talk, but I would follow this man into battle with this song. You know, I would follow him into battle. The dude made it important, and now it's important to me. I really respect this man in his quest for rich man nut. Yeah, that is interesting that you get that your boss is coming in and stealing from the very best of the baskets for himself. A little selfish, wouldn't you say? Let's see what people have to say. I mean, good for you. That's good petty revenge. That's proper petty revenge. Surprise microphone. I mean, you could have taken them to someone who would enjoy them, but I still approve. That guy is a jerk, right? Or can't you and your coworkers simply hide them in a drawer and just tell them they've all been eaten? That's really funny and true. Yeah, this guy just took it upon himself. I am going to eat them all. Maybe he did. Maybe he does like nuts. I mean, first of all, you're going to get a tummy ache if you're not used to eating that much nut. It's also a lot of fat. There's a lot of fat in nuts. I really like the idea that this guy is like, I must eat every single one of them. I'm not going to share them with my coworkers. I'm not going to hide them. I'm just going to eat every single one. I must be the one to end this tyranny. And the way that you did it was just stuff in your face with rich man nuts. By the way, once upon a time, this is exactly what my team did after we got tired of people stealing the communal snacks we purchased ourselves with our own money. We left all the crap visible that no one seemed to want, and then we hid our real supply in drawers only we knew about. I like that. My very small department used to get gift baskets galore from our vendors, and we would invite other teams to partake once we had opened them. This turned into a couple of other departments getting aggressive and just opening them, walking off with entire baskets, or sometimes waylaying the mailroom people so the baskets never made it to our area, which was a big no-no because we had to report gifts to compliance and write thank you notes, and obviously couldn't do that for packages not received by our department. We made a pact with the mailroom to hold everything for us, and we would go in, pick out our favorite bits, and then the mailroom guys got second choice. Sometimes one of us would take the entire basket home if someone really wanted it for like a party or something. We had been previously happy to share, but then everyone got greedy. One vendor sent a basket which included a beautiful snow globe. We all agreed our coworker Elle should take it home because she worked really closely with that vendor and it was obviously meant for her. The manager of another department came over for snacks and he said, "Oh, I'm going to take that snow globe." We practically had to wrestle it away from her and we knew she was going to kick up a fuss, so we forged a note in their Christmas card that said, "Elle, we hope you enjoy the snow globe, a small token of thanks for all your help this year." And thank God we did, because that manager complained to our terrible boss and our terrible boss was going to give it to her until we showed her the note saying it was specifically for Elle. So if she happens to be reading this, suck it, Joan. We had Brian write that note. Dang, Joan. Snow globe wasn't meant for you, homie. So you're full of rich man's nut? I'm so full of rich man's nut, I might burst. Trying to inflate your commission? How about no? I'm not sure if it fits here, but a friend suggested that you all might get a laugh out of this. About 22 years ago, I was buying an old farmhouse and land that had been on the market for 2 years. I liked what I saw. I knew there was going to be a ton of work to make it habitable, but I was willing to put the time and the money into it. I contacted their agent and everything was going swimmingly. 48 hours from exchanging contracts, and what do you know? A new buyer has offered $30K over my offer, but the sellers like me. So if I can go $5K above that, the agent is sure I will be able to get the house. Now, my parents were many things, but they did not bring me up to be a fool, and I was well aware that I was being played and he was trying to inflate his commission. I simply told the estate agent to advise the sellers to take the increased bid, and to make it easier, I was withdrawing my offer immediately. I was willing to take the financial loss of all the surveys, etc., because I don't like being screwed over by anyone. I wish I was a fly on the wall to see how that conversation went. By chance, I saw the sellers in town about 3 months later, and they said that they hoped I was recovering from my illness that had forced me to withdraw from the sale. Yes, that was genuinely the story the estate agent had come up with. Now, I could have nodded and smiled, but I decided to tell them the truth instead, that their estate agent had tried to squeeze me for an additional $35,000, and that because of his actions, the property was still for sale. Long story short, we had a chat and they were still willing to sell to me, and since I had all the paperwork, surveys, etc. ready to go, they could pull the property from the market and we could just get solicitors to do their bit and conduct it as a private sale. So that's what we did. I got my house, the sellers got a fair price, and the agent didn't get a penny. Was it petty? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. You know, like everybody has little tricks up their sleeve, I feel like, to make a little bit more money. Hey, what if I pop it? What if I sweeten this deal a little bit? Greedy people suffer from like this maximalist mentality where they have to milk every single little freaking dime out of every single deal they do always. Like nothing is ever easy. Everything requires negotiation. There's always back and forth. But sometimes, dude, if you're selling... Dude, if I was selling a house, if I was selling my house, or if I was selling something and I was like, I just want to sell it at this price. Can you do that for me? And the agent's like, sure. And then they try and blow out a deal. I would be so mad. Greed, man, it really is really getting in the way of a lot of good things. I think this is excellent petty revenge, 10 out of 10 petty revenge. It's also just kind of standard, you know? Sometimes you gotta pull out of a deal. You gotta be like, no, I'm not doing that. And sometimes that'll break the dam, and the other party will be like, okay, fine, you know, and they'll relinquish. But the fact that the seller lied because he blew out the deal, and that you're getting out of your offer and all this stuff, it's like, that sucks because you cost a lot of money. If this land and farmhouse has been on the market for 2 years, you really messed up. Top comment here says you should have reported that agent to whatever authority gives them the credentials/licenses to sell houses. They did not act in the best interest of their client. client and blatantly lied to you. In my country, they'd lose their real estate license. The blatant lying to their clients is what gives real estate people such a bad reputation. Similar story, 20 years ago, we put in the asking price during a seller's market. It was the most we could afford. The estate agent called to say someone who had only done a drive past, so no proof and no idea how much work was required, had put in a higher offer. He couldn't tell us the amount, so we just have to guess how much more to offer, which I'm sure would have been just enough. Well, we couldn't go higher, so I told the agent we couldn't compete and we'd withdraw our offer and keep looking. A couple of hours later, the mystery buyer had also withdrawn their increased offer, so would I like to reapply? I'd have loved to tell him to take a long walk off a short pier, but we just wanted to be in our first home. I hope the agent had a panic attack when we pulled out. I would have dropped my first offer by $5,000. Yeah, dude. Ooh, interesting. Oh, and then they replied, they said, we thought about lowering our bid, but the market was moving so fast, someone would have offered the asking price and we'd have lost the house. The asking price was double what the house had previously sold for, which stung, but it's now almost double again, and we couldn't afford it today if we were looking. So it worked out for us in the end, but I feel sorry for the people buying their first house today. Yeah. You know what? Greed is bad. Anybody ever think of that? Anybody ever say that before? Drew Gooden? Huh? That green screen back there is pretty distracting, eh? Ignore it! Dumped snow on a guy's hood who was parked in the only parking lot exit. It got him to move! This was weird and it just happened, but my apartment parking lot is awful with the snow right now. They haven't plowed, so everyone's fending for themselves. I dug my girlfriend out to leave this morning and had to dig her out to leave again this evening from a different spot. After we finally got the car moving, we found someone had parked in the only exit to the lot. I didn't really get like hyper mad very often, but damn was I mad. I honked a bunch. I got out and yelled, whose car is this? Then I called the apartment maintenance company hoping for a tow, and they said they'd send someone out. Then I started digging out another 2 parking spaces so my girlfriend could hopefully squeeze out through them. The first scoop of snow was such a nice clump, I decided I'd dump it on the windshield of the car blocking the exit. I don't know if the guy had been sitting there the whole time or if he came back while my back was turned, but a dude got out of the car and was like, what are you doing? I never yelled at strangers, but man, I just yelled, you're blocking the only exit, move your effing car. I didn't know if we'd fight or not. I hope not. He dusted the snow off of his car and then drove away. Glad I didn't get shot or something dumb. The goofy thing about me is I'm so peacekeeping usually that I felt bad about this confrontation. I almost helped him clean the snow off of his windshield, LOL, but he really deserved it. Anyway, that's my petty revenge, TLDR, dumped snow on a car that was blocking the parking lot exit, yelled, they moved. Maybe it was so bad and so snowy that the guy didn't realize that was the exit, but whatever it is, I mean, good for you. You know, you did what you had to do. It would suck though if the guy was just about to move, like he just got in his car and suddenly you're dumping the snow on his car. This is unique to me because I didn't grow up, well, I mean, I've never driven in a town that has snow like this, so I don't know. Like, people who live in these towns that get all icy and snowy and messed up and stuff, they're like a different breed of person, you know, like they go through completely different things. You know, you got to get up early and you got to start the car and you got to make sure it's warm enough and you got to ice, like scrape off the ice on the windshields or whatever. Like, I think I remember my parents doing that when I lived in Virginia because it would snow out there, but I don't know what it's like. You know, you got to warm up the engine or, you know, stuff like that. It's just, it's not something I know about. I can imagine being extremely frustrated at the only exit being blocked by a car. Yeah, absolutely. Call a tow truck. Get some buddies together. Push that thing around, you know what I'm saying? Like, geez. Let's read this top comment here. It says, did something similar about 5 years ago. I'd shoveled out about a foot of snow from this shared driveway 2 days before and had promised a friend a ride to an appointment that day, only to find a car I didn't recognize had blocked in my car. It was clean of snow, must have been there less than an hour. I laid on the horn, I knocked on doors, everyone said it wasn't them. So I pulled out my shovel and started shoveling out other areas. None were big enough for my car to pass through, but I was burning angry by then and just took shovel after shovel to dump on his windshield. About 10 shovelfuls in, a guy comes running one of the doors screaming that he'd move it. Well, I currently had a full shovel of snow. I made eye contact, kept it, and dumped it on his windshield before turning and grabbing another load. He didn't even bother to clean his half-filled hood. He just jumped in and backed out. My friend just looked at me and giggled, and then I drove her to her appointment. He wasn't there when we got back. Yeah. People who block your car, I mean, that's such a frustrating feeling because you can't really do anything unless you have access to a tow truck or, you know, unless you want to call a tow company and then wait however long it takes for them to get there. Unless you're rocking a real old pickup truck that you don't mind getting a little ding on, and then you could put it in reverse reverse and like, put it in reverse, Terry, and just blast that other car and or truck away. That would be a really satisfying feeling. That's the only reason why I would want a pickup truck like Michael Reeves. He's got a really nice old pickup truck. Oh my God, you're kinder than I am. I'm generally a peacekeeper, but this kind of stuff breaks my brain. I live in Vancouver and we never get snow. 2 years ago, we got over a foot in one day and it was chaos. I was shoveling a spot in front of my house as my wife was coming home from a long day at work, and as I was nearing completion, someone pulled up and started to put their blinker on to pull into the spot I was cleaning. The audacity, I stopped and stared at them and they drove off. I would have absolutely snowed their car if they had taken my spot. Oh, like in front of your house, like you didn't have a driveway. It was just like a spot on the road that you were shoveling. That's really funny. And they were like, me park here? No, dude. No! It's for my beautiful wife! Give you petty revenge. I'm gonna shovel your car. Is this good petty revenge? Yeah, I guess so. It's just, yeah, it's petty. Okay, you're putting snow on the hood of a car, and it's revenge because that's all you can do. That's all you have in your power. That's all you have in your power to do at this very moment. And I get that feeling of being a peacekeeping man, generally a kind man, a kind soul, a kind spirit. But somebody just triggers something in you, dude, that just you can't even handle. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 for petty revenge. Petty revenge! I took over a role after being told I was an idiot for it. Turns out the market disagreed. Ain't nobody ever thought I was gonna amount to nothing. Software engineer here. I joined a new company A exactly 1 year ago as team lead. I literally replaced a guy who left for company B because it was and about to burn up in flames. On his way out, he was very vocal about how I was an idiot for joining company A, how he was off to a powerhouse, and how I'd regret it. That should have gotten a little quote there, so I read it like that. For the few weeks we overlapped, he really liked giving me a daily reminder of how much the stock for company A had fallen the last few years and how much his new company stock had gone up in the same time. Stocks go up and down. Fast forward to today. Turns out I've mostly been calming down and bringing back to sanity so many colleagues who were burnt out, fixing so many issues that he left behind, so many half-assed solutions, putting out fires for clients who were about to leave, making them feel taken care of, giving the C-suite reality checks they were lied to for so long, and a realistic plan for the tech. Those same clients are now happy, stable, and renewing. Internal sentiment is way better, fewer emergencies, actual planning instead of panic. Meanwhile, purely for fun, I checked the stock today. Company A, 26% up since I joined. Company B, 26% down since he joined. Why is that the exact same percentage? That's weird, right? Is that not strange? I haven't said a word to him yet, still trying to figure out how to do the petty thing with class. Sweet, sweet petty revenge served by the market. Petty revenge! He will not see himself as the common denominator. No need to do anything. He will be checking the stock price because he wants a I told you so moment. Sometimes you just gotta let the other person trip and fall on their own. Next little bit of petty revenge says, stopped coworkers from leaving their trash on my desk. Why would you leave trash on your coworker's desk? Why would you do that? Put it in the trash can. Unless your coworker's desk is a trash can, in which case you are working with Oscar the Grouch. Many years ago, I had a corner desk near the door. Coworkers would regularly put their drinks on my desk on their way to the restroom and pick them up on the way back. Oh, yeah, I could see that. That's bad design. Yeah. Put a thing. After asking them not to do that, I put an extra wastebasket at the end of the desk and started tossing their drinks in it. Oh no, that sucks. That's really good though. This is like a 6 or 7 petty revenge here. They were often genuinely surprised to find no drink when they came back through. I just apologized and told them that I didn't know who left their trash on my desk, but I needed my desk space to work. They also bumped into my chair while cutting through my work area. That reminds me of like, if you're in the back of an airplane, you ever fly in the back of an airplane next to the bathroom? So, especially the aisle seats. I love an aisle seat. I'm an aisle seat fiend. But if you're in the back in an aisle seat, somebody will bump into you on the way to the bathroom. It happens every time. These things would happen multiple times a day, and it was always the same handful of people. It was so bad that if I were to roll my chair back 6 inches, I'd accidentally run into them, so that's exactly what I started doing. When I had to get a file from the side drawer, I would just roll my chair back and turn sideways to get the files, like this. I decided that I needed a file pretty much every time someone was cutting through my workspace. Damn, so you kept running into people whenever they needed to cut through? All right, I mean, I guess, It's your experience, it's not mine. It took a few times, but the worst offenders soon stopped after a few interactions between their ankles and my chair legs. Man, you out here bruising people? Because you don't like them walking around you and stuff? You just don't want them bumping into you. That's what it is. I get it. I would always profusely apologize and ask if they were okay. I would offer to help them get back to their desk, write an accident report. It's an accident report of you bumping into their ankles? That's really funny. Nobody was ever seriously injured, but I'm sure there were some bruises, of course. I'm not proud, but I would do it all again if I were at that desk in that office. Amen. Storybook closed. Yeah, I'm rating that a 6 out of 10 for petty revenge. Maybe even a 7. But specifically, throwing the drinks away, that's funny. But they're in your way. They're on your desk. You can't access your things if they're on your, that's your desk space. Someone else's drink is just there on your desk space, dude. That's not good. That's not bueno. Now, I think you did the right thing. This is good petty revenge. Good petty revenge. Some people only learn with violence. Well done! Historically speaking, violence is almost always the answer to effecting change. You battering rammed your way out of this situation. Good job. Those types of distractions are just truly annoying. You did what you had to do. I'm glad it worked out to reclaim your space. I mean, why would they even bring their drink with them on the way to the restroom? That's what confuses me. Yeah, that's true. Why didn't they just leave it at their desk? I've recently shown my partner that the squeaky wheel gets the grease is 100% true. Apartment neighbor letting their dog run loose, pissing and in the parking lot, then claiming it's okay because the dog always comes home. All right, we got a new little story here. Several of us tried talking to them. No dice. So I yelled at them for being negligent pet owners, called animal control. I called the city and bothered the landlord until he put up a fence that blocked the dog off and the problem was resolved. 15 minutes of waiting for someone to unlock a case at Walmart. I asked nearby departments for help twice. They called for help over the intercom twice. No one came. 15 minutes later, I loudly yelled in the store, "Customer needs assistance in pet supplies. It's been 15 minutes!" Lo and behold, someone was there to help 60 seconds later. Next door neighbor is a help home for troubled adults. Residents blasted profane music outdoors, smoking on my side of the fence, throwing trash over, having guests park in our parking lot. I called the property owner, I called the facilities manager, I called our landlord called property manager, I called the city, I left reports with the city, I repeated that for every incident. Lo and behold, now we have peace and quiet, no more trash, and no people stealing parking spots. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. How you gonna argue with that? The thing about this person though is like, what is the deal? You're living around some crazy people, man. Waiting for somebody to unlock a case at Walmart. Oh my God, that's my least favorite thing in the world. If you're out at Target, if you're out anywhere nowadays, like a CVS or whatever, like even at grocery stores now, they're locking up deodorant. They're locking up these things that are like, can I just grab deodorant and check that out? Can I just grab shampoo from this Target without having to ask somebody, can I please have my Head and Shoulders? Like, what the? That's the fastest way for you to lose your stores because I now have to interact with an extra person. There's an extra hook. There's an extra point of friction between me getting what I want. These damn stores. Finally, we have this story. It says, closed a popular pizza place for 2 days. When I was 15, I worked at a very popular pizza place in Canada that rhymes with nut. Is it Pizza Hut? Is that the idea? They got that in Canada? I don't know. It was run and managed by a couple college kids and they thought they were big stuff running a pizza joint. Congratulations. I was in between work and didn't want to work a fast food place, but my first choice at the local arena fell through because I had to be 16 to work with certain chemicals and stuff they had for the pool. Months away, but it was a no-go. So I bit the bullet and I applied. I got the job and was hired working in the kitchen. Within a month, they wanted me to learn how to make dough. I wasn't for it because that meant I had to come in every weekend at 6 a.m. to have dough ready for when they opened at noon. I said, fine, I'd learn, but I don't want to do it every weekend. I was a kid. I enjoyed my weekend time and was much happier working weeknights. They assured me I would only have to work one weekend dough shift a month. Hey man, you only got to work one weekend dough shift a month. Just dough us up once a week. Just dough us up. D is for dough. 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 They assured me I would only have to work one weekend dough shift a month. I said, okay, great. They got my partner in crime, we'll call Scott, to agree to the same thing. So we both learned and nailed it. Love that. Love that. I love it when you're able to work with your friend and just mosey on through a shift, dude. That's the best way to work. It's just you're working with a pal. Within 2 weeks of learning, we were back-to-back weekend shifts. I worked every Saturday, Scott every Sunday going forward. So you didn't even get to work with your friend. Great. I went to my boss and told her, and she laughed. She said, too bad. They all thought it was hilarious, the group of them. All servers in their 20s. We were the joke of the pizza joint. They knew we needed jobs and wouldn't quit. Then I went home one Saturday, and my parents said that the arena had called and wanted me to come in for another interview. Oh my God, that's the job you wanted. I went and was told I would be offered the job in 2 weeks, the day after my birthday. I asked if they needed anyone else, and they said yes, and I told them about my friend Scott and how he worked. He said he'd hand in his resume and he'd get it set up. Time for petty revenge. The next Saturday, I went into work and sat around and did absolutely nothing. I drank chocolate milk and hung out in the booths of the restaurant, twirling my thumbs. Twirling them. You mean twiddling, but that's cool too. They showed up for open, and I was standing there, apron and name tag in hand. I quit, I said. My boss laughed and said, whatever, we were going to fire you anyways. Then commented that if it were her, she wouldn't have showed up at all and screwed her over not making any dough. Idiot. I laughed and said, nah, I hung out all morning and made no dough, so you still need to pay me for my shift. Later, the look on her face was gold. She ended up having to close the store for the day because they had no dough made. Then to top it off, Scott repeated my quitting method the following day. We worked together at the arena for the rest of high school and told that story fondly. Wow, okay, so you quit and highly inconvenienced these people that were taking advantage of you. They didn't respect you. They didn't respect your time. They didn't honor your wishes for when you took the job. Dough. D is for dough. D is for dough. D is for dough. And P is for petty revenge. Wow, so this blew up overnight. I was not expecting it. Yeah, so the process of making dough, or at least when I worked there, was a nonstop grind, mix dough, pull out, start the next batch while it's mixing oil pans, portioning out the dough, putting in pans, fill rack, and put in speed proofer for an hour, and then cold storage and repeat nonstop for 6 hours. On occasion, you could use day-old dough in a pinch, but it did not hold up, and the pizza typically came out very flat. That being said, the boss there always kept the staff as thin as possible and would not have been able to run front of house and back of house at the same time to have made the dough on the spot. We were a small town at what was the busiest pizza place there. Friday evenings, Saturdays with Sunday with a cheap buffet. We're crazy. Thanks for the love. Glad people are enjoying the story. And then this top comment here says, here's my apron. Might want to put that on. Needing lots of dough in your future. Bye. That's good. You know what? You're 16. You knew from a young age. Don't take advantage of me. Good for you. That's a big deal. No. And then this is a Homer Simpson that says, no. I love this. We love a supportive commenter. Just, I love this. And 7 people liked that. They're like, I also love this. And dude, I love it when people are just excited about stuff, man. I love how they needed to close the store 2 days in a row. D is for dough. But in the boss's case, D is for dumbass. It's funny, I had a similar experience. My best friend and I got jobs at a pizza place right after high school. Very quickly, we became the most dependable people, and we didn't smoke, so naturally, they gave us all the hard stuff and took about 15 smoke breaks a day as we slaved away kneading dough, making pizzas, running the register, and cleaning various bits of the restaurant. When we were servers, they'd made one of us open and the other close 5 days a week. We worked mainly on tips some days, but the good sections went to the manager's buddies, who would probably work at most an hour during their shift and spend the rest of the time BSing in the office and smoking outside. Sometimes they'd take an order for their table, they'd punch it in, then have my friend or myself do the actual serving part, and they'd only show up again when it was time to deliver the check so that way they could get the tip. We were too young and too afraid to stand up for ourselves. In the middle of June, I told them I needed the 4th of July off for family. For some reason, there's a search bar there. I'm not sure why. Same with Pizza Place. They agreed, then scheduled me anyway, saying that they expected more volume than normal, while simultaneously giving their buddies off, even though it landed on their day of work and not ours. So we both quit on the day. Apparently that was enough for them to have to close on the 4th and miss a bunch of revenue. I don't know what happened after, but when I went to get my final check, they refused to send in the mail. I found out the store manager, the man who was most responsible for my treatment, was on disciplinary leave. During the year since, several of our past coworkers have reached out to us and apologized. Not the manager or any of the supervisors, of course, but it's still nice and validating. My friend and I are still close and laugh about it over beers sometimes. That's great, man. Dude, like brothers in arms, you know what I mean? Going through the trenches of work with your friends, it's working a job that maybe isn't your favorite job, but hey, if you got a buddy by your side, you can do anything. Big thanks again to CyberGhost VPN for sponsoring this video. Their link is in the description. Thank you for supporting me and the channel. Okay, bye! And remember, D is for dough. Outro. D is for dough. D is for Daniel. D is for dynamite. D is for dough. Dough, a deer, a female deer.